My name is Nicole Pratt, and this is the Persuasive Speech for Fundamentals of Public Speaking. Most of you have probably heard an exasperated parent crying out, "My kid is bouncing off the walls." Generally, we accept that kids are energetic and very busy, but did you know that some are actually diagnosed with a medical disorder for extreme hyperactivity and inattentiveness? Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is a topic that raises many debates. Some people argue that there is no such illness, that kids are just being kids. Others agree that it exists, but say that it is grossly overdiagnosed. These are real questions, but they are not the topic we will be considering today. Whether or not we agree with it, the fact remains that ADHD is a part of our society, and there may be children in our lives who will be diagnosed with it. What will our response be? The topic we will be discussing today is how to most effectively treat children who are diagnosed with ADHD. You might be thinking, why should I care about that subject? You may not have kids, or if you do, they may not have ADHD. Let me ask you this, are you an aunt or an uncle? Do you have younger siblings? Maybe you have good friends who have children. In some capacity, you probably have at least one relationship with a child in your life. Imagine if one day that child was diagnosed with ADHD and the decision was left to you on how they should be treated. How would you respond? I'm not a specialist on ADHD, but I work with children every day as an after-school program director. Because of my work, I've spent many hours researching this topic. Medical doctors, psychologists, and researchers, all experts. I will be sharing the results of my study with you today. I will show you that the diagnosis of children with ADHD in our society and their treatment with stimulant drugs is high. While stimulants have been proven to be somewhat effective and safe, they also pose problems and ultimately do not cure ADHD. Because of those factors, I will show you that behavioral therapy is a more preferable and practical form of treatment for ADHD. Now that you are more familiar with our topic, let me give you some information on ADHD diagnosis and treatment. The diagnosis of children with ADHD is a situation that touches millions of lives in America, and the use of stimulants is a common form of treatment. According to a 2007 national survey by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 4.5 million Americans aged 3 to 17 were diagnosed with ADHD in 2006. In an October 2006 edition of Journal for Specialists in Pediatric Nursing, an article was presented by authors Moe, Hester, Smith, and Shoptaw, who are all specialists in either nursing or psychology. They wrote that 56% of children diagnosed with ADHD are treated with stimulants. What exactly are stimulants? Medical doctors Bonashewski and Rothenberger wrote an article called Informing the ADHD Debate, which appeared in a June 2007 issue of Scientific American Special Edition. They wrote that stimulants are prescription drugs that affect areas of the brain involving controlling impulses, perception, and self-regulation. Ritalin is a common form of stimulant that you may be familiar with. Why are stimulants so popular? Experts have shown that the use of stimulants can be both safe and effective. Drs. Bonashewski and Rothenberger, whom I quoted earlier, work at a clinic for child and adolescent psychiatry in Germany. They wrote that behavioral disorders are decreased or even eliminated in 70 to 90% of children using stimulants. In the article from Journal for Specialists in Pediatric Nursing, it was noted that stimulants help manage hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattention, and improve concentration, focus, and motivation. What about safety? Authors Woolridge, McGuinn, and Doffing are associated with the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center, and they wrote an article that appeared in a 2007 edition of Drug Safety. They wrote that side effects are usually mild and can be managed without stopping medication. They also note that more severe side effects are extremely rare and usually cease when medication is stopped. All of this information sounds great, but why are some people still opposed to stimulants? I would like to bring up 3 specific concerns for using these drugs. Those concerns are the potential for abuse, the negative side effects, and the inability to cure ADHD. With regards to using stimulants, even experts debate how serious this problem is. However, evidence does exist to show that abuse occurs. The drug safety article that I referred to earlier says that some stimulants can cause substance abuse. Authors Moe, Hester, Smith, and Shoptaw, whom I quoted before, say that high school and college students have been found to sell these drugs or take them in excess at times. The negative side effects are usually mild, but they should be considered as they are unpleasant. The authors of the drug safety article list the following possible side effects of stimulants: loss of appetite, decreased growth, headaches, stomach aches, blood pressure and pulse changes, sleep disturbance, and more. Finally, ADHD can only be managed but not cured by stimulants. This fact was written in a brochure revision by the National Institute of Mental Health. The revision is called Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and it can be found on the athealth.com website. I have given reasons to believe that stimulants are not the most preferable option for treating ADHD. What other choice would you have if a child in your life was diagnosed with ADHD? I propose that behavioral therapy should be used before or at the least in conjunction with stimulants, and a number of experts support this approach. Dr. L. Eugene Arnold wrote an article for a 2007 issue of Current Medical Literature Pediatrics. In it, he wrote that combining medicinal and behavioral therapy usually leads to lower doses of stimulants, thus reducing the negative side effects. Drs. Bonashewski and Rothenberger referred to an examination by the National Institute of Mental Health, which showed that the highest success of treatment comes from combining drug and behavioral therapies. They also make the point that behavioral therapy teaches children to overcome obstacles and problematic behavior. In other words, children are being taught life skills that will serve them in the long run. Now that we've established some of the advantages of behavioral therapy, let me give you an idea how it works. Behavioral therapy makes use of common sense parenting or caregiving techniques. Dr. William Pelham Jr. is the director of the Center for Children and Families at the State University of New York, and he wrote 7 basic guidelines for behavioral therapy. Those can be found on the website additude.com, spelled ADD. The following are 5 of those guidelines and are direct quotes from Dr. Pelham. 1. Make sure your child understands the rules. The second guideline, give clear commands. The third, don't expect perfection. The fourth guideline, use when-then statements to encourage good behavior and reward your child. For example, if your child wants to go outside to play, you could say, when you finish your homework, then you may go outside. His fifth guideline is set up a point token system for rewards and consequences. I brought an example of such a system with me today. This is a chart listing 3 specific chores a child might have to do in the mornings. They are make your bed, get dressed, and brush your teeth. Every time that a child completes those 3 chores, they might receive a sticker on a sticker chart like this. Once the child has 5 stickers in a row, they will be rewarded with a special prize, like a small toy or a snack. Now that I've given you an idea how behavioral therapy can be used, let me explain why I believe it is a practical solution for ADHD treatment. Behavioral therapy is an affordable option that's also accessible to the average person. I've already explained that this type of treatment involves common sense techniques. Even if you've not previously used these principles, they're easy to learn, and the 5 guidelines that I've given you are a great place to start. Behavioral therapy also does not have to require great expense or the involvement of a specialist. There are excellent books and resources on this topic available to anyone who wants to learn. As you can see, behavioral therapy is a practical and effective form of treatment for ADHD. In conclusion, let me remind you of the points I've made today. The diagnosis of children with ADHD and their treatment with stimulants is a prevalent concern in our society. While those stimulants have been proven relatively safe and effective, they also pose risks for negative side effects and potential abuse without actually providing a cure. Because of those reasons, I propose that behavioral therapy should be used instead of, or at the very least, in conjunction with stimulants. Behavioral therapy is a treatment that uses common sense techniques and is accessible to the average person. I urge you to carefully consider these factors. Before you leave today, I will provide you with a list of sources on this topic. I challenge you to read those sources and make a firm stand for behavioral therapy. Think again about the child who's a part of your life. They could be among the rising number of children who are diagnosed with ADHD. If it's left for you to decide, or at least to advise how they should be treated, I urge you, be a voice for behavioral therapy and help train up a child to deal with the obstacles that life throws at them. Thank you.